Welcome to the third season of the Jeremy Mullins podcast. I am Jeremy, your host, and I am today here with one of our primary sponsors of the podcast, Mr. Tony Schmitt.
Jeremy, it's great to be here again and kicking off season 3. It's exciting, man.
Season opener to season 3. Season 2 was short, or cut a little short. My partner in crime, Reno, had to do a reclass for the military, and it was not a small 2-week or 4-week course. He has been gone for about 4 months and has I think he's home for Christmas, but then has to go back for 3 or 4 weeks to finish out the course. So he has been, I hate to say out of commission, but I did not want to pressure him and have to edit some podcasts. So we just kind of took a little small break.
Mighty kind of, yeah, Reno has been underwater to say the least, but he'll be better for it, right?
Yeah. But hey, let's talk about a little bit of updates, for us personally as human beings, as Jeremy and Tony, but then also as, business wise, from that standpoint. And I'll kind of, start first with our partnership. We last year introduced a nutrition or wellness call specifically on a monthly basis to all financial advisors. So not just, for a reminder to everybody, each week I do a personal call with Tony's team at GreenUp where we talk about all kinds of different things related to wellness and different topics. But this was actually a group open to any financial advisor. And Tony, you're really kind of stepping out and, kind of leading that front in the sense of like, hey, yes, we are specialists when it comes to financial wellness, but as a whole, we got a lot of work to do to make sure that we're healthy. And I'm thankful for you introducing me to some of those people. And I know we got a couple of people in the first format from that call, and they're kicking butt. So that's been awesome to see.
Crushing it. Yeah. I mean, we go all the way back to when we met. I started my journey with you, and it was so beneficial. The genesis was 75 Hard, which I'm stoked to start on January 5th. So anyone that wants to join me, come on aboard. Jeremy, that includes you.
Yeah, I guess that's the second update of the GreenUp and our connection is I told him if he got 90% of his employees on board that we were going to roll into I would do 75 Hard, and he's got 90% of his people. So if you're hearing this, we'll definitely get it out before January 5th. Join us. January 5th, starting 75 Hard.
Yeah, come join us. Anyways, not to get derailed with 75 Hard again. But we started doing this group call within our firm associates at GreenUp because we wanted them to be the best versions of themselves that they could be for their families, for their clients, and their communities. So then we took a next step and we added a monthly call with you and the GreenUp clients across the country. It's an exclusive call, really talking about wellness because there's so many parallels between financial wellness and then physical, mental, emotional wellness. And then we took another step a few months back saying, people that are financial advisors in our space, it's a great career. There's a lot of nobility in it. One of the things you do is a lot of entertaining, which can mean bad food. It can mean alcohol. It can mean a lot of stress because, as your clients go through difficult life experiences, you empathize and you feel that with them. Or, the volatility of the stock market, you absorb all that. And so we're like, hey, let's take this tool out to the community of financial advisors. And like you mentioned, we've seen great success with some of the folks, not from our firm, but from across the industry that are really absolutely crushing it. So to build the financial advisor wellness network with you has been just really exciting and incredible.
Yeah, I love that. And then from a personal standpoint, because I know I talked about it in the past, and it was one of the goals. Me and Katie both able to get some coins to the Leadville 100 mountain bike race. So that's been a priority and kind of a shift in my training schedule is, riding bikes, 3 days a week, and now it's up to 4 days a week, and it'll go to riding 5 days a week. So that's been a shift, and I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of that in season 3 here on the podcast is, mountain bike training and going out to Leadville. So I'm super excited about that on a personal standpoint and a training aspect from my side. And I know you guys have added, I want to say since the last time you've been on the podcast, 2 to 3 employees in the sense of financial advisor employees, right? I understand there might be some more that are not necessarily doing advising, but you guys have added 2 or 3 since the last time you've been on.
Yeah, we just over the last several months we opened offices, and I don't want to miss one here in Lawrence, Kansas. We opened an office in Omaha, Nebraska, and that office also serves Des Moines, Iowa, and then Austin, Texas, most recently as well, adding Victoria. So we're super stoked about our growth. And I always say, folks vote with their wallet. The only way we can continue to grow is if we're doing a good job for folks. So as we continue to grow, it's something we're really proud of because we think it speaks to how we're treating people and the expertise we're bringing, and ultimately the impact we're making in their lives.
100%. One more update from me, and I'm going to kind of go from that. You just mentioned in Austin, Texas. So next year I am branching out a little bit in what I do with First Form, and we're looking to bring mountain biking and trail running as a more of a culture within our culture, right? So I always say that life is made of subcultures, and we've been hitting the high rock scene really hard from First Form,
Yeah.
in the last couple of years. So looking forward to being at Austin for the Austin Rattler, which is a Leadville. It's part of the Leadville training series. So if people want to qualify for Leadville, there's some events out there. So we're going to be doing Austin. We're going to be doing Coldwater, which is in Anniston, Alabama. We're going to be going out to Salt Lake City. Not this year because I have conflicting schedule. It's Team Alpha weekend, the same weekend. So I look to adjust that next year. But eventually we'll be out at Salt Lake City. And then, of course, the Leadville series, the Leadville 100, which I'll be, as I mentioned earlier, participating in this year. But then we'll stay out in Leadville and be there for the Leadville 100 race. So super excited to bring, kind of get into the endurance space and bring our products and even from my standpoint, some education, to those subcultures. So if you're in those areas, hopefully get to see you. And the good thing about it is the events I just mentioned in Coldwater and in Austin and the Salt Lake City, all three of those have trail runs and mountain bikes. So if you're not a mountain biker, great, you can do a trail run. So it's both from that standpoint. So
Yeah, like we talked about. As long as my left knee holds up, I am in for Austin. I think that would be a blast.
100%. Love it. Well, and then last I'll say before we get started on today's topic, which is going to be the vision board. Thanks for your support the last two seasons going into season three. It's been super excited. I couldn't have all the cool toys and lights, that we have for the podcast. And the sad part is I don't have the lights or the cameras up today because I'm at my home office and not at the podcast office. But yourself and we appreciate the support from the company and for you. It's really helped us kind of have some cool toys and to fund some of the costs along with podcasts. So appreciate you.
You got it. Hey, it's important. I think what we're doing here and continuing to drive home ways for people to succeed and overcome obstacles in their lives. That's important. And at GreenUp, our mission is truly to positively impact people's lives. And so we're completely aligned. And what's life without some cool toys, right?
100%, right? I mean, I keep wanting, we maybe have to hit this out of the ballpark. I want a mobile podcast office, aka one of those sprinter vans that got like, the beds. I can take it to these mountain bike races, so I just need this to go viral and about 100,000 people, go over to you guys for financial service and go to Summit for, peptides and HRT, and I'll be able to have my little van, right?
Well, I'll tell you
Perfect
what,
dream.
that sounds great. And I think, item number one on your vision board.
100%. So let's talk vision boards. I'm super excited to do a new vision board, and update it this year. So that is something that, once again, just because you make a vision board doesn't mean you can't update it. And a vision board is just, you take a step back. You can be a younger individual and do a vision board on Canva or make it digital, all that cool stuff, or you can do it on like cutout magazine photos, which was my first original, vision board I ever did. Okay. But a vision board is just a collection of, images, words, symbols, photos, anything that you want that kind of sets what your goals are. Right. And in the terms we're going to talk about today, and this is where, Tony, I feel like we really have done a great job with our clients tying in financial wellness and overall health wellness. Because you can have these great goals, great financial goals. We'll just stick with the Sprinter van. I want to buy, a $250,000 Sprinter van. I want to travel around and hike at all these wonderful, national parks. Great. I can work all my life to do that. I can work my life to financially be able to do all this. But if I can't physically do it, what joy is it?
Yeah, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think I told you I just got back from Scottsdale last night. I was there for meetings with some business partners, and we're right on the foot of Camelback Mountain, and you look at these incredible homes that are right on the mountains and stuff, and it's incredible. And I was thinking that is absolutely like that's a dream, right? To be able to have that, it's just an awesome goal, be a crazy experience. But if you're stuck on the side of that mountain and you can't go across the road and go hike Camelback or walk down and hit that golf course. There's so many great golf courses there, or enjoy your family when they come to visit you. Right? That house is going to get awfully lonely no matter how cool it is.
Yeah. And it's true. Like as individuals, like when we stop moving our bodies, that the last few years or months just go down really quick. So, what I've started doing and you guys started doing it at GreenUp is we start having these conversations with people. It's like, hey, I want a vision board and I want you to tell me and show me what you want to do at your retirement age, right? And I know it's different for everybody, but let's just use myself. And really in the video, like you can see part of like something that's going to remind me every day of what my retirement goal is, right? So behind me is photos of Dolly Sods in West Virginia. So at 65 years old, I want to be able to move to Davis Thomas, West Virginia, still be able to mountain bike, trail run, do all the things I can physically do now at 65 years old. The only difference at 65 is I'll have the time to do it on a daily basis. And then hopefully the finances to where I don't have to once again work. So I don't have to, once again, I have that time. But if I just focus on the mountains and I just focus on the cabin and I focus on the financial part of that equation and I don't put the time into my physical and my mental well being, then I'm not going to have the physical capability to do the things that I enjoy doing at 65 years young.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. I mean, it's you work hard, you have the discipline, you have a great financial plan. Um, hopefully the advisor in your life, hopefully it's with our firm. You goes on this journey with you. You've accomplished that goal, but if you can't enjoy it, what have you done? So that's why we have the partnership, right? Because we want to help people with both.
So from my standpoint, I always tell people like, hey, yes, I understand we got short term goals. Whether that for example, come January 5th, our short term goal is to complete 75 hard. Cool. That's a goal of 75 days. Complete that program, build up that little bit of a mental edge. When it comes to discipline. Cool. Roger that. Got it. And then people might have an 8 week fat loss goal. Cool. I've got a short term goal right now of finishing the Leadville 100 mountain bike race under 12 hours. That's a short term specific goal that I have, right? But also on my vision board is mountain bikes in the mountains because I want to physically be able to do it at 65. And what's great about this from my standpoint is I get people working on habits, not just short-term action items to achieve the goal. Okay. And what we're going to list right now is just some, 7 to 8 things that when you do vision boards, why it's important. Okay. And these are just vision boards in general. But what we're asking the listeners to do is specifically make one that is not only retirement and financially based, but also wellness based. Okay, so that's what I ask you to do. Now you're welcome to add business goals there. If you have a house that you're wanting, maybe you're a younger individual and you're looking at your quote, not your retirement house, but the house you just want. Put that on there. Okay, so I understand that people are at different phases of their life. You can put short-term goals on this too, but the two things I want it to be is what you physically can do at your retirement age, and of course what you want in retirement. Those are the two things I definitely want on this that I think can bring happiness, success, and fulfillment to individuals' lives.
Yeah, I think something else that's important here, Jeremy, is people are doing this, and as we're all going through and building our vision boards, in addition to the pictures we're going to put in there, maybe on a separate sheet, list why that's important to you as well. Because, there's all kinds of studies that say when you have that why, it's going to get your brain to release the proper chemicals that get you to take action as well. And I think sometimes asking the why it's important to you. Like, why is it important for you to be able to mountain bike, in your 60s? It
Yep.
might seem obvious, but to actually write it out, that also helps us take those next steps as well.
100%. You just helped me with transition to number one on my list. Clarify your goals, right? So putting your goals into images force you to really define what you really want,
Yeah.
right? So it turns this vague wish, I want to retire and travel, very vague,
Yep.
right?
100%.
Versus if I, put my Sprinter van on there along with the exact, for me, it would be the national parks, right? That's
Yeah.
very specific, okay? Versus just being like, well, yeah, I want a beach house and a mountain house,
Yeah.
so clarifying your goals is a benefit to doing a vision board. And then, as you mentioned, yes, I would, once you get your photos, take that extra step as you're mentioning, Tony, and ask yourself why, and be able to write a sentence or two why that's important to you. And I think that brings another aspect, to the whole equation.
Yeah. And if there's a particular house, drive through that subdivision, right? Take a walk on that person's, maybe not their driveway, but maybe go on the sidewalk. I wouldn't say sit and loiter and stare at it, but maybe take a walk through that neighborhood so you can truly experience and connect with it for sure.
Yep. Benefit number two, just like we talked about, like I don't have a vision board up in here, but you can see the mountains, right? So this is not this exact photo that's on my list or on my vision board, but being able to see this strengthens your focus. So a vision board keeps your goals at the top of your mind, so you're seeing it often, right? And once again, you can do this digitally, and it can be a screensaver, or it can be a true fashion vision board that sets at your desk. Okay, and I should have went to the office today because I've got mine at the office and I could have showed it. But once again, seeing it on a regular basis is going to enforce what matters to you and a reminder on a daily basis.
That screensaver is a great idea, especially for those of us that travel a lot. Um, because if you're gone half or two-thirds of your life,
Yep.
it's not like you're going to take your vision board necessarily with you in the suitcase, but to have it on as a screensaver is a great idea. And that's what I'm definitely going to do as I build out 26 here.
Yep. And this one I was really impressed on. We were talking offline earlier, and you knew it. The is it Ross? Would you say Ross or RAS? How would you say it? What's the correct? I know the acronym RAS.
Yeah, I
Is it?
believe it's reticular activation system. Now, don't ask me to spell it. Um, but yeah, the RAS, I believe. And I learned about that through many podcasts and reading Ed Milet's book, The Power of One More. Ed talks about this a lot.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to stop there, and so I got it written down here, so I'm just going to read it. Hopefully, I don't butcher it. But activate the brain's reticular activating system. And a simple analogy of this, right, is you go buy a Jeep, okay? And now you got a Jeep, and all you see is other Jeeps, right? You never noticed all the Jeeps before,
Right.
okay? So that's kind of the same thing. It's like once you kind of, your brain sees something, like it activates the system. So once again, we're talking about this vision board, right? We put it out there, we see it, and then all of a sudden, our brain notices these opportunities, notices these resources that we never noticed before, right? Oh, my habits, right? What I'm doing is moving me towards this, and I think it's just something we don't, think about. Yes, I know a lot of times there's, oh, Jeremy, Tony, you guys are just fluffing up this. No, I could sit and say, and this is just Jeremy saying this. My clients that done vision boards have had better results than clients that don't do them.
Mm.
I mean, that's no research. That's just me, giving you data from what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, visualization, vision boards, they're absolutely so powerful. There's so much data on it that it's incredible. Um, and it might seem like, how do I do it? What's the right way to do it? I don't know that there's a wrong way to do it other
No,
than not doing it.
yeah, because I mean, here's what's going to happen, and this is me speaking from personal. You're going to make your first one, and you're going to end up changing it anyway, right? And what I mean by that, you may be spot on in what your goals are and what you want, but you find different photos, of something. You talked about like the house. You went and saw the house that you really enjoyed, and then you actually found the home plan from it. Like you're going to upgrade the first one you do. I will tell you that. Okay, that's just the nature of the beast. So expect to upgrade it after you do it the first time. Here's one that I didn't really think about, but reduces stress and increases emotional well-being. And was on a phone call yesterday at University of Louisville, working with some stuff on the Army side, and our colonel really was talking about this in the spiritual. So a lot of times in the spiritual, everyone thinks religion, but spiritual is not always religion. It is what your sense of purpose is. That's what more spiritual is about, right? And this is what we look at when we're talking about decreasing stress and increasing emotional well-being is these vision boards help create a sense of purpose and a sense of direction. And both of those things, when you have that in life, when you have a sense of purpose and you have a sense of direction, that reduces anxiety and increases mood overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think all you have to do is look at, the number of churches that are popping up all over the country. And that's a lot of people searching for purpose and finding
Yeah.
happiness with having that purpose. It's filling a big void in their lives.
Yeah. And once again, guys, hey, I am spiritual, but what I'm pulling out of this is, when we talk about spiritual wellness, okay, and I just said that backwards, you know, I believe in religion. There we go. Right. But religion can be part of spiritual. So for me, it's both. I have, my sense of religion, but also have my sense of purpose
Yeah.
in general. And do I believe they're tied together for me? 100%. So but I just don't want people to think when we talk about spiritual that it has to be 100% related to religion. Next up, great for a team or a family. And this was a little sidebar of doing it. And I don't know if you've done it. Have you done it with the family or with the team?
I have not done it with the family. We have asked the team to do it, but we haven't done a collective one. Odd. We just had our leadership offsite I was mentioning, and we were working on some stuff for the next 12, 36, and 60 months for the firm. So there was some of this, and I think that's probably the next step. But
And we've done it with the kids, but it was more their goals, not the
mhm,
family. So I
yeah,
could see, this benefit of it. I could see it from a team standpoint. Like this is use you and I, for example. Like we could do a vision board directly related to our calls,
yeah,
right? Like,
sure.
maybe we put on there that we got 100 people, on that financial wellness call,
Yep.
right? And we can have those some type of photo of the Zoom call with all those different people. So I could see where and the reason I want to bring this up to people is it's okay to have multiple vision boards. The one I'm asking you to do, as quote unquote a health coach, a leader in a sense, having a podcast is one that is wellness and financial based. But it doesn't mean that you can't have other vision boards related to other things in your life, whether it be family, whether it be teamwork from that standpoint.
That's interesting. I think about it. My initial thought was, well, that's tough or impossible because both my kids are at Mizzou. But now I'm like, well, when they come home over Christmas break, how cool would that be to keep us connected? Because my younger one went off to Mizzou this fall and joined my other one that's gonna is a senior there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
It's going to teach him the way.
Yeah, so sitting here like, okay, what if over Christmas break we put some things that are going to be important for us three together in the future as a way to stay connected and driving forward together? That's a great call.
Yeah, and that's last on my list of benefits of vision boards, is it helps track personal growth. And this goes to what we were discussing earlier in the sense that you may have more than one vision board or you may redo it, because if you're updating that vision board over time, it helps you see what you've accomplished and how your priorities are evolving, right? So let's just say you're, young 20s and you got a car, on there is and you get that car, right? You maybe check it off and maybe put another car beside of it, whatever the case may be, right? Or even from a housing standpoint, like you have a little condo on there as your first goal, right? And then okay, boom, you achieve the condo. Now you're into your 30s and it's a house, right? And then eventually, like we're talking about discussing down the road, eventually maybe it's a cabin in the woods, or an RV, whatever it is. So I think it's cool to redo these as you go because it is a way to measure your growth and your success over time.
Yeah, you can manage what you can measure, right? And I think that's important. And when you were talking about it earlier, I'm like, the best way to change your vision board is when you have to, because you've already accomplished that one. When you got to rip it off and put something else on there because you've already accomplished that, what a cool, incredible, satisfying thing. And that is absolutely going to keep you going forward. It's like having a power list where you're having to check those things off on a daily basis. Um, that is going to keep you moving forward for sure.
Well, we always talk about, as we're starting to wrap this up, in life, you can read about things or you can experience things. And I'm not saying reading is a bad way to go, because I can take and read a book and get someone else's life experiences without having to spend the time to do those experiences. Now, with that being said, I want you to experience life, people. I want you to live. I want you, but I want you to read too. And part of this vision board, which take the first part of vision, is visualization. And you were talking about earlier, a baseball story that you were telling me. And I think, and I'll let you share that a little bit, because I think that's part of visualization. I don't want people to think people that, hey, I've got to sit down and like close my eyes and really see, X, Y, or Z. No, visualization could be someone telling you a story of what you need to expect that could happen. And then guess what? If it does happen, it's like, oh, I've been here. I know
Yeah.
what to do, right?
Yeah, 100%. It was actually soccer. It was my freshman year playing collegiate soccer, and um, I was a little 18-year-old kid starting in the center midfield, and our All-American center midfielder, who was also captain, my pledge dad, blew his knee out early in the season, and it was going to be me in there having to lead and manage through that. And he took me on this long, long drive and was like, okay, we're going to talk. I want you to think about these things. This individual is going to get irritated and frustrated and start following people like crazy. How are you going to settle him down? Okay. This person's going to get frustrated, start just whacking the ball all over the place. This is going to happen with the referees. How are you going to manage this part of the game? And so at 18, that was my first real experience on, okay, you have to think forward of what's going to happen so that if you've already experienced it, it's no biggie. You're not getting emotional. You've already lived this. It's like, if you're 25, you probably don't have enough life experience to handle some of the tumultuous waters that life is going to bring you. But sitting here at, let's say, not 25, well, 49, there's a lot of gray hair that I've earned. And you're like, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. It's not that big of a deal, right? And I think that is so powerful, and there's so much wisdom as folks get older. And as I look at my pops, who's 87, he's seen a lot, he's lived a lot. And I think visualizing situations in life can help you go through that. And I was fortunate that Phil took me through that experience at a really young age.
Well, and I just think like, pulling the visualization back to the vision board, you're kind of setting your tone of what you expect and what you're going to do. That's the beautiful thing about it, right? And it might not be perfect, but it is amazing how close you will come, right? Like, I remember, on the house that I had on my vision board when we were in St. Louis, it's a craftsman style house, and it has the wraparound deck. And the house that we had out there, not craftsman style, well, it was craftsman style in the front, but it also had a deck. Like, it was amazing how close
Yeah.
that house was, right? And then with the change of moving to Florida, like we really didn't like, know, like there wasn't time for me to really think about like what house I want in Florida, because I hadn't spent a lot of time in Florida, right? But being West Virginia, Appalachia, and moving to Florida, my visualization was like palm trees. Even though I'm North Florida, right? This is just where my mind went. Um, and in the backyard, we've got patio, fireplace, and three palm trees, right? So it's it is a powerful tool that I think people can use. And the beauty of what we're doing is, by tying together the financial part of it and the wellness part of it, is we're knocking out two of the most important things in your life that are going to matter when you
Yeah.
get to 65, 70, 60, wherever your retirement age is, right? Being financially set to do the things you want to do, but also being healthy enough to do the things you want to do.
I think having the proper self-talk is crucial there as well. As far as I want to or I hope to. you know,
Yep.
I'm dreaming of whatever. Change that into I'm going to. You've already made that choice. And you put it on that vision board, you've already made that choice that these are things you're going to do. Like you heard me, Raz, and Matt in our company the other day about you got to make the choice on 75 hard first. Like, no, the choice has got to be made. And if once you make the choice, you'll be successful as long as you follow the process. Um, but it's anything in life, you make the choice first and it's going to happen.
100%. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on today, kicking off season 3. If you guys do make your vision board, do us a favor. Tag Tony and I on social media. We'll make sure that we put our social media handles down in the notes of the show. So take a photo, tag us. We'd love to see it. I hope you guys have a wonderful start to the new year. This podcast should be dropping maybe right before the new year. If you guys do need anything from us, from a wellness standpoint, shoot me a message. If you guys are looking at, stepping up your retirement, want to do a free consult with Tony or his team, send them a message over at GreenUp Wellness. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.